Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Project Infinite podcast, the podcast covering the entire and ever-expanding multiverse of fandom, from movies, comics, TV shows, video games. We got you covered. I'm Rob. I'm here as always with Court. Court, this week we're going to talk about the only Spider-Man known to be a confirmed murderer.
Just like Henry Allen.
Yes.
Just like Barry Allen's dad.
Our hero, Henry Allen. But yeah, so we are kind of... You guys aren't going to recognize this, but we recognize this, that we're on a short week.
Yeah.
So we're recording this episode not long after the last episode went out. This episode, we're going to be talking about our final set of movies in our trilogy of film retrospectives.
We're in the Endgame now.
We are in the Endgame now.
I want to, just real quick, we really are in the Endgame of this. This has been one of the craziest build-ups to any movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about... We're going to be doing two things with this episode. We're going to be talking about the MCU's Spider-Man, I guess we could label him, Tom Holland as Peter Parker. We're going to talk about a little bit about his appearances in Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, blah, 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 blah. But the crux of it will be about his two solo outings as Spider-Man in Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home. And then we're going to preview arguably the biggest movie of all time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we don't have that much news. The only thing that we really not needed to talk about, but we're going to talk about is at the Game Awards, there were some kind of cool things that were revealed. I talked about a little bit last week that the Game Awards is kind of like the winter E3. So E3 takes place in the summer, and now we have the Game Awards at the end of the year, and there's usually some cool reveals, cool trailers. The awards are kind of whatever. They are what they are. But we got a new Star Wars game coming.
Oh, yeah. Star Wars Eclipse looks pretty interesting. So I know you kind of take the helm when it comes to video games, so I want you to kind of go through, just the developers and what this game's going to be about, maybe just your overall thoughts and everything.
Yeah, so Star Wars Eclipse was a surprise to me, and a surprise to, I think, a lot of other people, because I think a lot of other people's focus have been on the Knights of the Old Republic remake that is coming, PlayStation exclusive. A lot of people have been looking for news about a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order.
One of my favorite games of all time.
Easily one of the best Star Wars games I've ever played, that's for sure. And, but no, Quantic Dream gave us a trailer for Star Wars Eclipse. For those of you who are not familiar with Quantic Dream, if you have ever played the game Heavy Rain, that is them. They kind of pioneered the, I guess it's what more Telltale Games is known for at this point, which is kind of a story-driven, decision-based, kind of on-the-rails adventure game. I don't know if that's what this is going to be, but they have developed pretty much those types of games throughout their history. They did Beyond Two Souls. They've done Detroit Become Human, which are all kind of the same type of style and structure of games. So I don't know if it's going to be that. I think it'd be interesting to play around in like a High Republic sandbox, making decisions, and maybe there's some politicking involved. Maybe there's some Jedi business involved. It's interesting. I'm glad that they're doing this. I mean, we've talked about, I don't know, however many times about what we need to do to quote-unquote fix Star Wars, and it's explore uncharted territory, and the High Republic is certainly uncharted territory.
And it's on the rise, too, because I know Charles Soule is coming out with his books as we speak right now. I have the first two of them, where it's set in the High Republic era. It was like a big deal when this was coming out, and I believe they had some comics to match, so we're definitely in that time where they're starting to go back in time and see what they can explore, because obviously some people aren't happy with this new era that we have right now. We've been through the kind of new old era with Mandalorian a little bit, so we're getting post 6 but pre 7, so we're kind of delving in there. We're in mid 3 and 4 with Clone Wars and Fallen Order, so you're kind of always in this future time or within the Skywalker era. So now throwing it back all the way to the High Republic era, I think that's a great idea for all of Star Wars right now. So the next piece is the live action version of what the High Republic's going to look like.
Yeah, so. And I think it gives people, whether they're filmmakers, whether they're game developers, gives them a lot of creative freedom.
That's my favorite part about it. Is kind of the freedom you're going to get.
They're not beholden to the lore of the popular films.
Yeah.
The new trilogy, old trilogy, sequel trilogy, whatever you want to call these 9 Skywalker movies.
Yeah, and it was awesome because I was watching this Star Wars Eclipse trailer, and I know the complaint that I kind of also felt a little bit was, what am I watching for the first 35 seconds? But I also thought about it, the other side to it was, that's kind of cool that I don't know what's going on, or I don't have any preconceived notions about anything that's going on. And it also shows my favorite aspect of Star Wars, and I was watching A New Hope the other day. It's just the vastness of the unknown of the entire universe, and Fallen Order kind of touched upon that too. Kind of stepping away from that, the Skywalkers are the only people in the entire galaxy. Kind of stepping away from that is one of my most fun aspects about Star Wars in general. Just the lore itself. The lore of the Sith and the Jedi, the Mandalorians, like all these things that you can explore are just so interesting to me. So I really want to see more of that. And I get the High Republic and we're going to get this Knights of the Old Republic game. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, and I mean, with games, when they're announced in this fashion where it's just literally, here's who's developing it, here's a trailer and a title card, this thing's going to be 3 to 4 years away.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
At best, and that's not with delays and everything else that comes with developing a video game, so it's a ways off. I'm intrigued. I mean, the trailer did its job. Speaking of intriguing, Wonder Woman is getting a solo game.
Yeah. Yeah,
awesome.
I'm looking forward to that. She's got a lot of potential in that aspect, and shout out to Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot for that. I'm pretty sure this isn't going to be an origin game, which
it doesn't seem it.
Yeah, nor do I want it to be. Right. We already got that. It's kind of like Spider-Man PS4 when it came out 2018, so we'd already seen 3 Spider-Man up until that point, and we got 2 origin stories and 1 sort of origin story, but an origin story within inside of the MCU. So we don't really need an origin story for a character that we already know so well. And Wonder Woman's popularity has skyrocketed over the last 5 years. So definitely same concept. You don't need to do this origin story. I told you before we hopped on too, my favorite thing about this is it's not because of the developer of this game, it's just because of her actual power set, which I feel this is going to play like God of War. That's why I think this is going to be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I could definitely see this being type of an action-adventure, hack-and-slash kind of game that's being developed by Monolith, who developed the pretty critically acclaimed Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War games, which did a lot of revolutionary stuff as far as the action-adventure genre. They invented the Nemesis system, which was you combat these kind of leaders of these groups, and you if they kill you, you're reborn, and they like remember you the next time you confront them, and the enemies learn from you. So I could see them implementing that easily into a Wonder Woman game where you're killing enemies, and then enemies are aware of what your strategies are and like who you are because you're Diana Prince.
Right.
So I think the lore of Wonder Woman, the look, the feel, all lends itself really well to like an action adventure game. Yeah. So I'm super pumped. Another thing I wasn't expecting.
Me neither.
So I was like,
came out of left field. Definitely. Yeah. Got some Suicide Squad gameplay.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad versus the Justice League.
Looks slick.
Yeah. Gave me a lot of. Oh, what were we just talking about?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy vibes from it. Just this ragtag team just having the most unorthodox issues in wherever universe or wherever space they are. So it's going to be real fun. I mean, the lineup's great. Boomerang, Harley Quinn, King Shark, and Deadshot. I mean, just off the both Suicide Squad movies, that's a pretty solid team. And I think they're going to add more characters to that game, too. I don't think it's going to end with the 4 of them.
It seems like the Flash is going to be like the first boss, like the first villain of the game, which is cool.
He's hilarious in it, too. I wonder if you think that's Barry or you think that's Wally? The way he was talking, it felt like Wally over Barry.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's an interesting question. I feel like it will be Barry.
Right.
Just because he's typically like what you associate with like the Justice League, even though Wally West was the cartoon.
Yeah, I know when I was a kid, I knew Wally West before I knew Barry Allen when I was a kid, just because of the Justice League Unlimited.
But I know like you go to like Injustice.
Oh yeah.
Barry Allen is the Flash in Injustice, so I feel like it's going to be just the Barry Allen Flash. But the only thing I'm hoping for this game is what I think I'm getting is all these characters, because it's not going to be like the Guardians game in the sense that you're going to be able to control these 4 characters of the Suicide Squad. I believe it's also going to be co-op if you want to do that.
I think so, yeah. I think I heard about that.
Which is cool. And I just want all these characters to feel unique and distinct. Like, give me a reason to want to play Boomerang. Give me a reason to want to play Deadshot. You know what I mean? So I'm not beholden to just playing as one character because they're the easiest to use or, like, you know, they're overpowered in this kind of thing. Give me a reason to want to switch. You know what I mean? Switch characters, you know, even mid-combat. You know what I mean? If
that would be interesting.
You know, invoke a little, you know, modern kind of action adventure games in that sense that are more like group based. I'm looking forward to that also. I'm looking forward to that way more than I'm looking forward to Gotham Knights, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, they didn't show anything for Gotham Knights, which doesn't bode too well. I mean, that's happened a lot. I mean, if you just look at Comic-Cons, movies that were coming out before other projects were still not showing versus showing for Comic-Cons throughout the last, since the MCU was big. So I'm not concerned about that. But still, I'm more concerned about the combat doesn't look anything interesting in the story. I don't know where the story's gonna drive. The Court of Owls looks like the saving grace for Gotham Knights, but there's still something that I'm not fully on board with.
It's a Batman game without Batman.
Right.
And I'm presuming because Rocksteady's doing Suicide Squad and it is set in the Arkham universe, I'm expecting Batman to show up in that game.
At the end, maybe, or...
Maybe in the end, or maybe he's the one League member that isn't turned by Brainiac, and he kind of helps the Suicide Squad.
That would be really fun. That would be extremely fun. I can definitely see that.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Yeah, that Gotham Knight game worries me. Especially because it feels like it's going to be Destiny, Avengers, like, games of service, kind of. And I'm just like, after Avengers, I'm like, I'm so far out.
Yeah, we don't need that anymore.
But that was really all we had to talk about. Like I said, short week for us, so not a lot happened. Some stuff happened, Black Panther related, but we'll see where that goes in the coming weeks before we open up a discussion on what's going on there. Just a real sad situation developing over there. But yeah, so I guess from there we're going to jump right into the final film retrospective before Spider-Man No Way Home. And that is, you know, we've talked about Tobey Maguire, we've talked about Andrew Garfield, but Spider-Man No Way Home is the film for one Spider-Man.
Yeah, there's only one Spider-Man that's going to be in this movie. No cameos, no nothing. It's just Tom.
Yeah, this is, in case anyone's been distracted over the past however long this movie's been being hyped up for, this is a movie about Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Yeah, so let's knock that out real quick as an over-arc. Listen, like you just said, this is Tom Holland's third film. This is his. It's just his. It's kind of, you know what this reminds me of? I just had it. It's kind of, there's a movie that also just came out, was the same concept. Everybody was focused on everything else. Oh, it was Captain America Civil War. At the end of the day, that's a Captain America movie. And that movie actually did a pretty good job of making sure that they knew it was, that they knew it was a Captain America movie.
Yeah, so let's start there. It's a perfect starting point for Tom Holland Spider-Man as Captain America Civil War.
So a little background, Andrew Garfield's somewhere in the universe, and he's on the, he doesn't know what's going on. And then next thing you know, they got this young Brit from The Impossible, with Ewan McGregor, funny enough. Wink, wink.
Yeah, we'll talk about him later, perhaps.
Yeah, and you're probably asking yourself, why are we going to talk about Ewan McGregor later? You'll see. But yeah, they got this young actor named Tom Holland, and I remember when he got cast, I was like, he's got the look.
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed too. Did we know when he was cast that he was going to be part of the MCU? I don't remember.
I think it was more implied. And I think it was kind of, when the Civil War trailer dropped, that's funny. I remember exactly where I was for that Civil War trailer. That's how big that trailer was when we found out Spider-Man was coming into the MCU. Like, it's kind of like not having, like, Batman in the DCEU, and then, like, halfway through your run, he gets thrown in there. Like, it was one of the biggest trailer moments of all time. I think we did know that he was gonna... I think we kind of had the idea he was gonna get a movie, depending on how successful, but from his... So let's talk about his opening scene. So, Captain America's running amok in the entire world. Alright, let's get this out of the way. Iron Man was right. Are you Team Cap or Team Iron Man?
I'm Team Captain America.
I'm Team Iron Man.
Iron Man's the worst.
This is a Project Infinite Civil War. Oh no.
Oh man, yeah, Tony Stark's a bad guy.
Yeah, so Tony Stark's like, let me get this 15-year-old kid from Queens to help me fight Captain America.
Yeah.
That was just a bad description, but yeah, he sees this kid on YouTube and he kind of gets the idea that not only is he strong and powerful, but he's also got to be relatively smart for what he's doing. You kind of get the idea that he knows how smart he is too. And obviously Tony Stark being Tony Stark figures out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So, yeah, he goes into his apartment with his very young Aunt May, Marissa Tomei. Shout out my cousin Vinny.
Yeah. Aunt May has aging backwards all the time.
Yeah. Whoever the next Spider-Man, she's going to be like 40. It's going to be crazy, and they're going to keep doing it.
It's going to be Jennifer Lawrence.
It will be Jennifer Lawrence. She's just going to get like a little haircut, and she'll be Aunt May. It's perfect. But yeah, so Tom Holland shows up, and I really liked his first appearance in Civil War.
I love the introduction.
It's so this is the argument, the big argument for Tom Holland not being as good as the other two is the Iron Boy Jr. debate. That's the big thing. So is he just a stand-in for Iron Man? Is he supposed to be the next Iron Man? Can I be honest? I never from any of these movies got that. I just don't feel that that's what's going on. I think that's just an oversimplification of the situation. If you really pay attention to it, especially from Civil War, he's very about, I need to protect this neighborhood. I'm here to do what I gotta do here.
Yeah, I have a bit of a different kind of tact with the Iron Man stuff. It doesn't involve him being like the successor to Iron Man as much as it involves Iron Man's influence on him.
Yeah.
Which is very, at times, I feel is a bit heavy-handed.
Sure. Yeah, that I will buy any day of the week. I do buy that, and I understand. But if we are getting the second trilogy, I think that, and especially if the rumors are true about this movie, that's what this movie's going to be about.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's going to be about the severing of this, because the first movie was him and Iron Man. The second movie was him and Mysterio as his replacement to Iron Man. And this one, it could be two other Spider-Men telling him, hey, we did this alone. And we'll get into that in Far From Home, because I don't like the fact that everybody's just like, he had help the whole time. He did not have any help in the end of Homecoming and the end of Far From Home. He had no help. He was fighting Mysterio and Vulture by himself both times. But yeah, it's the argument, does he have help? He doesn't. But he might a little bit. He got some gadgets.
Yeah. So Civil War, that opening scene that we see him in is great. Mm-hmm. And he gives off this youthful earnestness that we had not seen really on screen from the prior two Spider-Man.
Yes.
He feels like, I mean, not to say that Andrew Garfield he felt like a high school kid in a different way.
He felt like a high school kid of the 2010s, like the early 2010s. Like we said, the perks of being a Spider-Man last week. Yeah.
And Tom Holland felt like an actual high school kid.
Yes.
At any time.
Yes. Right.
He's talking about he's got to do his homework. I can't fight Captain America. This, that, and obviously, it's bolstered by the fact that Robert Downey Jr. is there, and he really plays well off of really anybody, especially in the MCU. But just in general, as an actor, Robert Downey Jr. is pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
undeniable.
He's a great dance partner for Tom Holland, and I don't think that's accidental that they kind of chose Robert Downey Jr. to be kind of like the leash, for Tom Holland. They really tethered those two actors together and characters. Yeah. They tethered those two together on purpose.
Right.
So yeah, long story short, Iron Man recruits Spider-Man to fight in the Civil War.
Last minute addition to...
Not the American Civil War.
No, that would be kind of awkward if they were there with their powers. But yeah, last minute addition to this movie. They were talking about throwing this, that, the other thing in this movie, and I just watched that airport scene. I understand that, whatever, it doesn't look the best to some people, whatever. That moment is one of the greatest moments in any superhero moment. It's just because the music crescendos at the perfect time when they all line up with each other.
I'll tell you why that airport scene's great. It's because it's superheroes doing superhero things.
Stuff, yeah.
Every this can get lost in the Civil War. It gets lost, I feel, honestly, in the big fights in Infinity War and Endgame, where you see why every single person who's on these teams are there.
Yeah, they are Avengers, for a reason.
They all show off their powers, they all show off their usefulness, every single one of them, right down the line, from Cap to Bucky to Sam to Clint to Wanda, obviously, to Vision. Right. On the other side, you go to Vision, you go to Black Panther, you go to Black Widow.
Spider-Man,
yeah. That's where I wanted to get to, because right away you get some great Spider-Man stuff.
Yes, and our point about Andrew Garfield last week applies right to Tom Holland, in my opinion, too. So I do think I do agree with the notion that he is the best of both worlds, that Peter. And the Peter really shows in Homecoming, which we'll get to, but in Civil War, him fighting Bucky and Sam was great, because immediately... I love how apparent that Marvel made it in the Captain America movies, how strong Bucky is, especially in Winter Soldier. Like, he is extremely strong. I mean, he was taking on Steve with that arm, just throwing people around, and the first thing he does physically wise is catch a punch from a super soldier and just turns his arm around. The metal arm too, not just his regular arm. And it's just, you see it right there that, oh yeah, he's strong.
Yeah, you get a little bit of spider sense in that scene when Bucky throws the car at him, and he sees it coming before he sees it coming,
right?
Which is good.
And then the quips.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah. But you can feel the youthfulness from these quips too. That's what I really like about it. Like, you feel that he is a kid. You feel it. That he's way younger than the rest of them, and he probably shouldn't be here. You should probably get into bed soon. But it's so good. That's why it's the best part about Tom Holland, in my opinion.
And then he fights Cap, and he gets walloped. Yeah. Because why wouldn't he?
Because Captain America's like, he's got dad strength.
Well, that, and, you know, Captain America knows what he's doing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Spider-Man really is kind of fighting on instinct when he's fighting Bucky and Sam, and Bucky and Sam don't get along and they don't work well together.
Right.
Whereas, like, Captain America is like, all right, I see what you're all about. You know what I mean? Like, I could, you know, take your legs out from under you, do this, that, and another thing. But there's also that kind of camaraderie and respect between Steve and Peter in that moment also. And that's really the last we see of him in Civil War, is that airport scene. He's here now. He gets a post-credit scene at the end of Civil War. That's basically saying Spider-Man's coming back.
He's in the MCU now.
Yeah.
Be happy, everybody.
So then we go to, I guess we'll do this kind of chronologically. So then we go to Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yep.
Which is his first film.
Let's review it. Good stuff.
Good. Really good.
I think it's time for my hot take.
Yeah, go ahead.
I really like Homecoming. I like Homecoming more than Far From Home.
I do too, I think.
This is it. I think Homecoming's a top 3 Spider-Man movie. Don't cancel me yet, guys. No Way Home didn't come out. Don't do it yet. Give me a week.
So what? You're saying Spider-Man 2, right?
Yeah.
Is 1.
We're not counting Into the Spider-Verse, right?
No.
So Spider-Man 2?
Action, yeah. Yeah, so Spider-Man 2 is 1. And then, are you going Homecoming then?
No, I'm going Spider-Man 1.
Okay.
It's so balanced of comic booky and just realism in Spider-Man 1, that's why I put it 2. And I think I enjoy it a little bit more than Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 definitively, I think, is the best live-action Spider-Man movie. But then my third one is Homecoming, because
I think I'd agree with you.
Yeah, it's just. I told you before we hopped on, it's the small moments in this movie of Peter being a high schooler. Because in Tobey's movies, they got him right out of high school. Andrew, it was more of him, you know, dealing with his parents and the loss of his parents and his loss of Uncle Ben. And the school stuff was kind of like second fiddle. It was just a couple scenes of him being in school and then him trying to figure out how to be in a relationship.
And hanging out with Emma Stone.
Yeah, and hanging out with Emma Stone. But this one is... the whole crux of this movie is him being a high school student.
Yeah.
He doesn't get to the end scene without Liz being Adrian Toombs' daughter. Like
prom.
Yeah. Oh, that prom scene. When they were driving them there, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
This is, it's a high school movie.
Yeah, it's a John... They said, I know the whole cast said when they were on their press junket that they watched all of John Hughes' movies before they did it. And you could feel it in the scene where they're... Even down to, like, some of the musical cues, like, the soundtrack's actually pretty fun for this movie. I told you before we hopped on, the biggest compliment I can give Tom Holland is I genuinely enjoy watching his whole... the majority of both movies. Like, I have a genuine enjoyment of it. Like... Andrew's movies were, it had issues, like it had plot issues. Tobey's movies, they were dramas, so you're gonna relate more, but you're not gonna feel like, you know, you're not gonna feel like euphoric of it unless you're looking at it from a nostalgia perspective. Obviously 1 and probably parts of 3, to be honest, but 2 more or less is like really a drama-centric movie for the first 2 acts. But these movies they're extremely fun. Like, I have a great time watching these movies and relate, because I'm a little bit younger too, so relating to, like, this high school age Peter Parker. I love him trying to, like, him with his friends, him being an actual nerdy kid in high school. And he plays that well in Homecoming specifically. He plays that extremely well. Like, the first scene that him and Ned have together is he just pulls up on his locker. He's just like, we're going to build the Lego Death Star, and the cheerleaders laugh at him. Like, yes, I like that. Like, good. You're doing a good job at that. So, yeah, a lot of just great, youthful, exuberant moments from Tom Holland. That's the best compliment I can give him.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So, let's talk about the supporting cast a little bit of these Holland movies. So you got Ned, his best friend. Not
Jacob
Harry
Batalon.
Osborn.
Yeah, not it's not James Franco, guys. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
it's so funny. Like just I'm begging somebody to just put up a picture of Tom Holland, Jacob Batalon, and Zendaya against Kirsten Dunst, James Franco, and Tobey Maguire
right.
from the first Spider-Man movie.
Right.
I mean, like, these characters are supposed to be the same age.
Yeah, just throw Flash in there just throw Joe Manganiello versus I forget who's playing. Well, I always forget his name. Who's playing Flash Thompson now? He was
Keep talking while I look this up.
Yeah, he's in Grand Budapest Hotel, but just the dichotomy of the both of them, or the juxtaposition. It's
Tony Revolori.
Yes. The juxtaposition is great. They're so much different, but that kind of lends credence to the fact that these really are just high school movies. Yeah. They really are. Like, if you go to the subcategories of the MCU, like Civil War or Winter Soldier's a spy movie, Ant-Man 1's a heist movie. This one's a high school movie. Like, it's a high school. It really is like one of those John Hughes-esque high school movies, and I love it for that. Like I said,
there's like the crazy over the top like teachers.
Oh my gosh, they're and little Easter egg. He's the same character from The Incredible Hulk. I'm pretty sure that they said that their teacher.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's the same guy from The Incredible Hulk that got bought the pizza, because I think they were trying to make that Rick Jones, but I guess it never panned out. But I also do like that better, that he just went from working at MIT to being a teacher at one of the most prestigious high schools in the country.
Yeah. So back to Jacob Batalon. Good as the best friend.
My favorite best friend combo of any Spider-Man that we've gotten.
Andrew Garfield doesn't really have one.
No. And
they shoehorned Dane DeHaan in.
Yeah. And Toby and James were, you can feel it, but they just had so much conflict the whole time. Like, it was from the first one they had conflict. So
these
really
two are legitimate, like, best friends.
Right. And you love it. It's like, it's such a feel good movie, A Homecoming. It's just such a fun watch. Like, I love Ned having the spider mask on when they're trying to look up where the location of the Vulture's lair is. It's great. Mm-hmm. They're so young. They're extremely young and youthful. It's great. It's good stuff.
Yeah, so he's good. He obviously becomes the guy he wants to be. Mm-hmm. Self-fulfilling prophecy. He wants to become the guy in the chair. And he becomes the guy in the chair.
Yeah, he might become the guy in the glider in this next trilogy. We'll see.
Oh, boy.
We'll see.
And then we have Zendaya as MJ.
Good stuff.
Yeah, she's great.
I love her loner-esque kind of shtick that she goes with in Homecoming. It's really fun.
It's like very it's over the top.
It's anti what we're used to from MJ and Gwen Stacy. It's the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, I know people were mad.
Mm-hmm. She could be Michelle Gonzalez. She could be Mary Jane Watson. We don't know.
She's just MJ.
Stop getting so mad.
Yeah, don't get mad.
Yeah,
they're great. They're great together.
She was in
particularly in Far From Home.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that when we get to Far From Home.
Yeah,
Homecoming. There's really not a ton to that dynamic.
But I kind of like that.
No, I like it too.
Yeah.
I like it too.
That it's not just I wake up one morning and I have Emma Stone or Kirsten Dunst has just noticed me because I have a six-pack now. It's just it feels the most real in that aspect of like, it feels like this high school it feels like if you have a crush in high school and the awkwardness of it.
And the funny thing about that is she's not the romantic interest.
No, she's not. Liz is. Yeah. Liz, whatever her last name is until we find out in the third act.
She's good.
Yeah.
I like her also in this movie.
Guess what? That's Klay Thompson's girlfriend.
Is it really?
Yeah, shout out Klay Thompson.
Wow, that guy shoots from 100% on and off the floor.
Yes. This is a Klay Thompson stan podcast now.
No, but she's good. I like her a lot as Liz. She doesn't come off as prissy or you want to like her.
Yeah.
That Zendaya is I'm gonna steal some really corny TV relationship terms, but Zendaya is Endgame.
Yes.
For Tom Holland, but you also kind of want to root for Liz and Tom Holland.
Yeah. Right. It's kind of like the evolution of kids, right? Because I said the same thing about their Spider-Man comic counterparts, because I said Toby feels like the 60s Spider-Man, Andrew feels like the 90s up up until like about Civil War, and Tom feels like the ultimate Spider-Man. Like, it also feels like that for not only like the love relationships, but the actual high school characters that we see in these movies. We said it jokingly before, like Joe Manganiello, if it was the early 2000s, he probably would have been an actual physical bully. And then, you know, you get to Andrews, and the one that played his Flash Thompson obviously is still physical, but he's more of like a macho man of trying to put on like a front until something happens and he kind of backs down, just like, I'm not a bad guy, just bad things happen to me. And then it gets to the new guy, and
Tony Ravololi.
Yeah, and it more of like a mental battle, modern day bully. I'm gonna cyberbully you. Like, that's what it is, and it makes more sense. Yeah. I know the people up in arms about his Flash Thompson, but it makes more sense of how it would relate. Like, him publicly embarrassing him is probably much more important than him just trying to beat him up.
Being like the rich spoiled kid having like the house parties and stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. What do you think of his work life relationship?
Who?
Tom Holland.
In terms of Peter Parker versus Spider-Man?
Yeah.
One of my favorite aspects of Homecoming. He's so eager to be Spider-Man, which is the most refreshing thing, because...
Is he eager to be Spider-Man, or is he eager to be an Avenger?
He's eager to be an Avenger, which I can see is where people would be a little upset about that. But this is my thing, right? This takes place in the MCU. It's the other ones didn't have to worry about that, but these do. Like, I'm telling you, like, if Andrew Spider-Man was in the MCU, it probably still would have kind of went off this of understanding, like, hey, he kind of does have to worry about the other stuff.
What Andrew Garfield said about that, though.
Yeah, he said that he wouldn't
take Tony Stark as a mentor.
No, he wouldn't,
because they'd be too at odds with each other.
Yeah, he wouldn't take any of his quips, because Andrew Garfield's kind of like, he's the best jerk you could find. So yeah, he wouldn't put up with that. It's great. But yeah, I do like he started out with the Avengers.
And also reminds me a lot of how I appreciated how Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker looked at being Spider-Man, is that he's like, nah, this is cool.
Yeah, this is cool.
I like being Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but it's like on a grandiose level of...
And Homecoming, sorry, but Homecoming really dives into that, like, man, do I really need to be in school anymore because I'm Spider-Man?
It's so good. That's what Stargirl Season 3 is probably going to be about. Yeah, I don't need to be in school. Like, he's itching to get out there. And then the opening scene of him actually being Spider-Man in that movie is so good, because that's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It's the same argument I made for Andrew last week. Him just being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man until one of these bigger villains arises, which they do. But same concept, like him helping a guy stealing a bike and just screaming out like, "Is this anybody's bike?" Like, all of that shot where he's just eating the sandwich and the train's passing by. That's just a really good shot.
But you can also, his inexperience is also showing.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really have quite a handle on how to be a hero. He knows how to like stop a crime, but doesn't know how to do it like
smoothly. There's no fluidity to his endeavors as Spider-Man, and you feel that in the scene where, you know, Mr. Delmore's shop gets blown up and he's like, he looks confused for a second. It's like, it's dealing with that, and it's dealing with the repercussions of the entire MCU, just like any other project that they would do. The same thing would happen.
Yeah, and then I guess the last supporting character we could talk about is Bob Downey himself.
Yes.
So let's talk about Robert Downey Jr. a bit in this movie. I don't hate that he's in it, but I'm not. It's weird because I like the scene that takes place after the ferry scene.
Yes.
But I don't know if we need the ferry scene. Like, it feels very, I don't know.
It feels like they were trying to show off how powerful he is in context to the other two Spider-Man. I get that a little bit, and it's also to show why he would be an Avenger. And that's his hero moment too. That was it. Everybody gets their hero moment. I think that was his. It
is, but it's also Iron Man is there.
Yeah, Iron Man
fixes it.
Yeah, Iron Man fixes it, which that's the whole argument.
But like I said, I love the fallout of that scene. I love Iron Man telling him, you know, it's rich coming from Tony Stark saying, if you don't have, what are you without the suit? Because what are you without the suit?
What are you talking about? You didn't see Iron Man 3?
Yeah, he knows a little bit of judo.
Yeah, he knows a little bit of judo, and he can make a shock glove out of some Home Depot appliances. But
so that's a little rich coming from you, Iron Man. Peter Parker without his suit is still got spider powers.
Yeah, he does.
All right, but no, I really like that scene, and it goes back to that the mentorship. You know, it does go back to that. So I like that scene, but it just, man, I like that he's in it, but I feel like he's in it maybe a little too much.
And I think they counted to screen time and it was like 8 minutes altogether, but still you
feel it.
It's the presence of Tony Stark versus his actual screen time. That's where I feel like you're coming from.
Yeah. And I don't 100% think it's Kevin Feige's fault I think that felt like a Sony thing to me, where they were like, "Can we please have Robert Downey Jr.?"
Also, to kind of go further into that, it kind of feels like, hey, we need to market this Spider-Man movie as if it's in the MCU, so let's just put the biggest Avenger in there too.
Yep, 100%. Yep. But no, like I said, I do like moments that they have together, and I like that, after that moment that they have after the ferry, I don't think he's in it anymore. I think he's gone after that.
Yeah, I think it's just one, maybe a FaceTime call, maybe, and that's a big maybe. Mm-hmm. But I can't remember after that. But like we said, fairy scenes. Let's talk about the villain, Birdman himself.
Dude, Michael Keaton, man.
He's
fantastic.
Good. He has the most genuine ham it up thing that I say for villains. He has the most genuine of it in everything that he does. I love it. I love it so much. So he plays Adrian Toomes, who is not Ben Kingsley because Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire never happened. So I like the setup for it too. Like, I know the Far From Home thing is, of course, that he's an employee for Stark. And
I didn't love that.
Yeah, didn't love that. But this one I understand. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I love the play on the name Vulture, of him actually scavenging these sites where the Avengers were just running amok throughout the cities of the world. Yeah. And them just coming in and be like, we're just going to steal the tech and repurpose it and sell it. Yep. Great. Really good. And that kind of helped the MCU villain problem up until that point, because this is before Black Panther, before Killmonger, so this really helped the MCU villain problem at that point. Like a villain that actually had a little bit of depth, and then the reveal, which we're going to get into in a second, actually made it even better. Really
actual kind of terrifying villain.
Yeah. Oh, his sequences are pretty solid. They're pretty scary and pretty like edge of your seat, like, oh crap, like I could feel Peter's fear. That's what I feel like.
Great redesign from the classic comic book Vulture.
Thank God for not having the actual
Gilman in the bird costume.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah. But, man, Michael Keaton is great.
Yeah, he is. So good. He's so short with people, too, which I really like. He plays like an older man. Like he
plays like Michael Keaton.
Yeah, he plays like Michael Keaton. That's all he's doing. That's all Michael Keaton's been doing for, like, ever since Birdman. He's just been playing Michael Keaton.
And he's good at it.
He does. Yeah. Nobody knows you like you know yourself, so good on you, Michael Keaton.
Yeah, so they kind of come at odds. Why are they at odds?
It's because of Peter's at the house party and he sees the explosion, and then he goes with Donald Glover's there, and then he goes over to it, and they're like, hey boss, there's this guy in the spider costume that was fighting in Germany with Iron Man, can you come help us? And then he just swoops down, picks him up. Yeah,
it shows the disparity between the two, which I really enjoy. I enjoy when the first encounter is like the villain just kicks the crap out of the hero, because, he needs to appear dangerous.
Yeah, he does. And
like, why is he a problem? Yeah. This is why.
Right.
Because he just dispatched of you, Spider-Man.
Yeah, boy, is he dangerous. Even down to the ferry scene, still dangerous at the same time. Yeah, he's great throughout this whole movie. Let's just jump right into the reveal. Mm-hmm. I said Liz didn't have a last name. Guess what? She does. Her last name is Toomes. Dun, dun, dun. Yes.
Really good scene.
Yes. So, Peter and Liz, because this still is a high school movie, Peter wants to take Liz. I love the small nature of this. Yep. I really like it. It's not some big, the world's about to end if this happens. It's just, oh crap, some more tech's going to get on the streets. But that's a very friendly neighborhood Spider-Man thing to do. This is why this movie's in my top 3 Spider-Man movies. And he gets the yes from Liz. They're going to go to prom together, or prom. Oh, Homecoming. That's why the movie's called Homecoming.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was prom for some reason.
No, it's Homecoming.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're gonna go to Homecoming together. It's gonna be mighty fine and perfect. And Peter's, that John Hughes awkwardness of, hyping himself up to meet the parents, and it's great, and he's ready to do it. And guess who swings open that door? Michael Keaton just swings open the door. And I love the green hue that they throw on him throughout the 2 scenes, the house scene and the car scene. It's great. It's just a small little nod. But yeah, opens the door and it's like, oh my god, because I forgot this was a Spider-Man movie for a second. And you feel the anxiety for the next 2 scenes. You feel it. This is the best, like, I feel Peter Parker. Yeah. Some of the best of it.
And what's also good about that scene, these pair of scenes, is you feel anxiety because you as the viewer know that Vulture is the villain. You know what I mean?
But it's not vice versa.
Right.
He doesn't know that Peter's Spider-Man.
Well,
yeah, that's where the reveal comes from, but yeah.
But up until that point, he knows that Toomes is the Vulture, but he doesn't think that Toomes knows that he's Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. And he also didn't know that was his new girlfriend's dad. That's where the
like
big
triple
thing.
anxiety.
Yeah, it's just...
So you just think it's like regular anxiety, and then you get in the car.
It's a really interesting way to show the stopping power and like why Peter Parker and Spider-Man always conflict. Like, that was a really interesting way to do it now that I think about it retroactively. Like, it's always like, if you look at Tobey's movies, it's always like, well, if I'm Spider-Man, then my girlfriend's not going to love me because I'm not there for her. And if it's Andrew, it's like, I'm putting Gwen Stacy at risk if I'm Spider-Man. Like, this one's like, oh crap, like, this villain just found out who I was, and it's just like, small world, eh? Like, it's just something, it's like a very interesting take on it. So, yeah, they're driving in the car, and he's pensive this whole time, and he's on edge, and it's just, Liz is like, why are you so nervous? And then Michael Keaton starts putting two to two together, because they talk about, hey, that spider guy saved you when you were in Washington, right? And he's like, yeah, he did. Peter, you left, right? And then he's like, yeah, I wasn't feeling so good. And he's like, you said you left and Spider-Man showed up, eh? He's like, yeah, he left me. And then it's just like, he starts to reveal and it starts getting peeled back. And then the red light flashes to a green light on Vulture's face. And then he's like, Liz, why don't you just go ahead? And then great villain moment. Great arc of a villain to not make him just this horrible person. He says, I'm not gonna kill you right now. You're messing up my operation. I'm not gonna kill you because you saved my daughter. So I'm gonna give you an out right now. I want you, I love this. He's like, I want you to take her to prom. And I want you guys to have a great time. I almost want to think that they would have dated too. If nothing happened, he would have been like, okay, maybe you did some bad stuff for me, but maybe we can team up. Maybe we'll pull a Green Goblin from Spider-Man 1. But yeah, it's just, it's really tense and really shows kind of what sucks about being Peter Parker sometimes.
Yeah, and then, you know, his hero-ness wins out.
I love that scene where he just tells her, gotta go.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, with great power, that's his own personal, with great power becomes great responsibility. Like, I gotta go stop this. I don't care how much I want to be at this dance with you.
The Shocker's in this?
Yeah, the Shocker's in this. You got Discount Dave Chappelle. Sorry, Bo Keatwood, but that was a low blow. I love you, man.
Yeah, short screen time for the Shocker.
Yeah.
He's in, he's out.
Yeah, he punches up a little bit, and then he gets webbed up. So.
Then he gets dealt with.
Yeah, he gets dealt with, and then...
Peter goes to stop the Vulture.
Yeah, that scene where... See, now that I'm really thinking about this movie... If you think about it scene to scene, there's a lot of great Peter Parker scenes in this movie too. And I think the biggest hero moment and Tom Holland's personal best moment, outside of probably him getting dusted in Infinity War, is when it was it was just the famous Steve Ditko cover of him holding up the bricks or the pillars of the building. Yep. And it's just the reflection piece of him and he's looking at the water after Vulture kind of sets him up to kind of get buried alive. And he tells him like, come on, Spider-Man, like, come on, Peter. Come on, Spider-Man. Like, me and you are the same. Like, let's do this. I gotta go get this guy. And just he's maybe the strongest one out of the three of them.
I mean, Toby stopped a train,
but he held a ferry together for like a couple seconds.
True. Yeah.
Held the ferry. I mean, he punched up Thanos a bit.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. We're gonna get into that because this is an MCU Spider-Man.
Yeah, so he gets out of there, and then he has one last kind of confrontation with the Vulture, and he wins.
Yeah, he does win. Good stuff.
Of course he's going to win.
Yeah, got beat up a little bit there, though. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
That aerial combat gets a little nerve-wracking. I know that firsthand from Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah, so he defeats the Vulture. Vulture's off to prison. Liz is out of his life. Mm-hmm. She's off, moving.
Yeah, because her father's a supervillain, so best relocate.
Yep. And then that movie ends. Mm-hmm. And then the next time we see him, Avengers Infinity War. Yeah. Surprise, you're in one of the biggest movies of all time now.
Yeah, cue Avengers theme. Somebody in post put that in. Title card. Cool. So, now that I'm really, really thinking about it, I love where they pick up with Tom in these movies. He's just on a school field trip. Like, that's where he's going, and he sees it, and he's just like, gotta go. Yeah, gotta go. And distracts Stan Lee because what else is there to do? And he jumps out the window. He's like, hey, Mr. Stark, I'm here to help.
Yep.
I'm here to help. Oh, you didn't know this was an Avengers movie? We gotta go to space, man. Got big plans.
Yeah, you're leaving New York.
You want to talk about the background more on this one? Because I feel like with the his own movies, like the background's more important than the actual plot that's going on because there's too much going on. So it's just the background and kind of the meta things that are going on. So throwing him in space. So taking him, I mean, literally outside of anything we've ever seen with him before.
We get to see him in the cool Iron Spider suit that they revealed at the end of Homecoming that he didn't end up using, but they're like, we're like, he's going to wear that one day.
Yeah, he's going to use it. Big trailer moment, too, from the first Infinity War trailer, which is like the biggest trailer of all time.
Yeah, so we see him in space, Good stuff.
Yeah, good rapport with the Guardians, too. I really love it.
Good stuff with him. Good stuff with him and Doctor Strange.
Yeah, yep.
Which were laying the seeds for No Way Home. Mm-hmm. With those two having kind of a rapport with each other.
I feel like it's like vice principal energy with him and Doctor Strange, where he's just like, or it's like that one teacher that like annoys you, but the teacher still likes you a little bit. That's what it feels like.
He's there. He's in Infinity War to be Tony Stark's responsibility.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right.
He's the burden that Tony weighs when Infinity War happens, when the ending happens.
Right.
That's Tony's kind of burden, is Peter loses his life. In that moment, has a good little punch up with Thanos.
Punches up Thanos a bit.
Doesn't really do a whole lot other than that.
No.
Obviously, the standout moment is the death scene.
Yeah.
Where you see that the kid come back, right? The hero vanishes, the kid returns in that moment.
Yeah.
Where he dies.
Audible crying in the theater when that happened.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. It was just... I just talked about...
kill babyface Tom Holland.
They killed Chadwick they killed Black Panther, they killed... Oh my gosh, they were just... All the heavy hitters, they said, we'll see you in a year. But yeah, that... I'll never forget walking out of the theater for Infinity War. It felt like if you played sports and like you lost in an away game in the bus ride back, that's exactly what that felt like. Yeah, dead silence the whole way home. I was like, oh.
Nobody, you wanted to talk about the movie, but you couldn't.
Yeah, you're like, oh god. We know they're coming back, but geez.
Yeah, that was nuts.
It's going to be a whole year of sadness.
So yeah, he's gone. And then he returns in Avengers Endgame.
Another, if we're talking about a meta moment, in the theater, it was like the vice versa of that. When that happened, like, because Doctor Strange, he swooped in, and then the Guardians came out, and like everybody started cheering. But then when Tom came on screen, like everybody started losing it in the theater. Like it was just, that just showed, it's Spider-Man. Like this is the biggest Marvel character that's ever been made.
Yeah. And then again, he's kind of a background player in Endgame. Does some spider stuff.
It activates instant kill.
Yep, that pays off.
But still, moreover, him and Iron Man have their reconciliation.
Their goodbye,
comes back. Yeah, their goodbye.
It's the reverse, basically, of what happens in Infinity War.
Right, because
without the hysterics, because Iron Man's like a vegetable.
Yeah.
Basically, at that point, he doesn't really know what's going on. He's like literally on his last legs.
Yeah, he's gone, and I mean, Tom Holland, good actor. I feel like we forgot to say that. Tom Holland, good actor.
A lot of range in these films.
Yeah, probably the most range of his career outside of like Cherry. Wasn't a big fan of Cherry, but The Devil All the Time, yeah, he gets a good bit of range. But still, in this universe specifically, he gets a solid amount of good acting moments, like the Spider-Man, him kind of rallying himself, great moment. End of Infinity War and the end of Endgame, him seeing basically his mentor pass away is just big time, and that's the big setup for Spider-Man Far From Home. Yeah,
so that's where we come to Spider-Man Far From Home. This is like the grieving stage for him. His mentor is gone, and this, I go back to what bugged me about Iron Man's presence. Not what bugged me, but what the common complaint is about Iron Man's role in Spider-Man's story is that I didn't get the sense in Homecoming that he was being set up to be the heir apparent in Iron Man. But in Far From Home, they make it so that he's trying to be...
I mean, they literally did the heavy the head that wears the crown. I think Nick Fury literally says that line in the movie now that I'm thinking about it.
The one cop says to him, like, you're supposed to be Iron Man now.
Right.
Like,
he gets the glasses, which is literally the crown. Like,
there's too much of that in Far From Home. I think they could have done a better job of him wanting to honor Tony, but not wanting to be Tony. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with being Spider-Man.
That's what I'm saying. And that's a big part of the movie, is him, and that's what the beginning of the third act goes about when Happy picks him up in, where are they? They're in Norway or whatever?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, they're in Europe, and he picks him up, and he's like, Happy tells him, like, Tony messed up all the time, too. Like, you messed up, man. But that's what being a hero is. You mess up, but you find a way to pick yourself back up. So
yeah, it's just a little too much Iron Man stuff for me in that movie.
But I understand why, because this was the first movie after the biggest movie of all time. It was the first one afterwards, the repercussions of Avengers Endgame, of all the people coming back. So that's kind of where this movie picks up, right? Also, another good moment in Endgame is Peter and Ned seeing each other again, and they do their spider handshake, and I'm like, why am I about to cry in this theater? This is so heartwarming. I love their friendship. But yeah, same thing. So we pick up in Spider-Man Far From Home, and Nick Fury's in this one, and Maria Hill.
Yeah.
Nick Fury and Maria Hill. If you guys didn't see, because you can't see us, I did air quotes because spoilers when we get to the end of this, but yeah, they pick up and there's some anomalies going on around the world, right? And boy, Jake Gyllenhaal's in this.
Yeah, he's great.
Oh my gosh, he's probably in my top tier of Spider-Man villains that we've gotten in live action. He's right at the top.
Jake Gyllenhaal finally found his way into a Spider-Man movie after almost replacing Tobey Maguire.
Oh, he really was. And then they just did the movie Brothers together, so I guess it works out. But yeah, so Jake Gyllenhaal's in this, and the big thing for him is he's the hero. He's the hero. It's a very meta thing that I see what they did there for the whole message that they were trying to give us.
Jake Gyllenhaal, deceitful in fiction and in real life. Yeah.
For all you Swifties listening, we're Team Taylor. But yeah, he's great in this movie. He plays off Tom really, really well. And I think that's because they kind of like each other in real life. Like they're like, you feel like it's like a big brother, little brother situation in real life. And I really like that. Yeah. And yeah, no, it's just good stuff from them all around. So Mysterio's presented as the newest Avenger, almost. It's presented that, so the big overarch is like, the Avengers are gone. They say it Betty says it in the beginning of the movie, like, the Avengers are gone, so who's going to replace them? And that's kind of the first half of the movie. That's the big argument. Like, one, who's going to replace Tony as the leader of the Avengers? And two, who's going to protect us from threats now that the Avengers are basically disbanded? Because they did their mission. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you pick up, he's like, I need to take a break from being Spider-Man. Tony just died. I don't really have motivation to do this right now. I need a trip. And lucky enough, he's got a trip to Europe with his school. They're happy you guys are now alive. Let's take a trip to Europe. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff, man.
And this is where the Peter and MJ stuff really kicks up. Yeah. In just a really good way.
Yeah, so, I mean, from the moment that you pick up with Tom in high school, it's like, oh, I really like MJ. Like, I really like her. I like her nonchalant nature, and I like that she's mean to me.
Yeah, it's very, like, classic. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. And, yeah, you really feel their relationship start to blossom. And it's just, I relate so much with the awkwardness of it.
Yeah,
of, like,
it's a slow burn.
Yeah, him going in the bathroom in the airplane and, like, he'd be, like, 1 second, I'm talking, like, heavy clean the bathroom before she walks in. It's, like, all those subconscious things that don't really matter, but you think are the end of the world.
You have, like, the inadvertent, like, other guy in the picture.
Yeah, yep. Brad. God. Hate Brad. JB Smooth's in this, and he's hilarious in this.
Again, that's what I was talking about with Homecoming, where you got like the really like over the top goofy teachers. Like you had him, you had the other guy, you had Hannibal Buress in Homecoming.
Oh yeah,
as the lethargic gym teacher.
No, it's great all across the board. So
wait, hang on, can we just talk about Homecoming's post-credit scene real quick? The Captain America one.
Oh my gosh. Because it was at the end, so like, oh my gosh, because I thought it was going to be this big thing because this movie was right before Black Panther and Avengers Infinity War, so you think it's going to be this gigantic, like, oh, Thanos is coming moment, or, set up, whatever. And then it's just Captain America turning around the chair and just, it's like he had his Danny Tanner moment with the entire MCU fandom. Yeah. He told him, like, patience.
He's like, so.
You waited to the end of the movie and you thought you were going to get a cool post-credit scene.
It invokes the Deadpool post-credit scene.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But anyway, since we brought up Hannibal Buress, I wanted to talk about that post-credit scene. Yeah. But yeah, what were we talking about?
We're talking about, where Tom's at. So he's getting ready for his school trip. I'm kind of mad they cut out that scene of him getting ready for his trip, and they cut out him breaking up that mob dinner or whatever it was.
That could have been real cool.
Yeah, I think it would have been interesting. It would have helped with the friendly neighborhood in the second one, because that's another complaint about Far From Home is...
He's far from home?
Yeah, he's far from home, yeah. Yeah. But I'm okay. I'm honestly okay with it. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's not, I don't think it's as big a deal as people made it out to be, as him being like... I know one of the what was the whole point of this movie? And I mean, the whole point is that it's two-sided. It's one, it's his kind of severing from Iron Man, and two, it's also like I said, it's the first movie after the biggest movie of all time. Like, there will be repercussions of what happened. Yeah. So, yeah, we pick up, Tom's like, hey, I'm going to Europe, and I'm trying to fall in love with this girl. And then they get to Europe, and crap. Is that Mysterio?
I mean, there's some stuff that happens between that, but stuff I don't love. Yeah. Like the whole Edith drone satellite sitch. I know it's a means to set up Mysterio. Right. but it's still just like a little much.
Yeah.
It's a little too global for me, like a little too,
big.
Eye in the sky. It's a little too, like, does Spider-Man need drones?
Right. That's not... And it's funny because Tony also says that. He's like, you don't need all this stuff. Like, if you don't have the suit, who are you? Like, I don't think drones is the, is the answer to that.
It could have... You know what they could have done? I mean, I guess it wouldn't have, paid off Mysterio's, like, duplicitousness, but you could have easily just had Mysterio hijack the Edith...
Yeah.
Technology without it even involving Peter at all.
Because Mysterio's a smart guy. He made Barf. Like, he was the one that came up with the idea for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could have done that without it having, like, Peter be in charge of the drones. Mm-hmm. But, like, like I said, means to an end. I'm not going to go back and rewrite the film.
Right.
But yeah, the stuff in Europe is good. Mm-hmm. Again, it's the work-life balance. Like,
yeah. I love some of the non-even Peter Parker just those kids just living in Europe. Like,
he's like, I just want to be on vacation.
Yeah.
And Nick Fury's like, you don't get how this works, do you?
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson's just like,
he's good in everything.
Yeah, he is. He's like,
you've been to space.
Yeah, you don't get to do this. So, yeah, along the lines of Peter, who's going to be the next Iron Man? Also, like we said, Mysterio's seemingly at this point, he's going to be the next, like, leader of the Avengers with, I guess, what they're going to think is Spider-Man 2. It's going to be possibly Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, and Mysterio. That's who, like, the Avengers are at this point. But Captain Marvel's in space. She can't really help them. So Spider-Man, obviously. And because Nick Fury also knows that he's the predecessor to Iron Man, quote unquote, that he's going to have to help him. So it's like, it's the same thing as Nick Fury telling him, hey, with great power comes great responsibility. And with this great responsibility comes great need to help Nick Fury out.
Spoiler alert, Mysterio's a bad guy.
Is he?
Yeah.
I mean, why would Peter Parker kill him if he was a bad guy? We're using the Henry Allen cop-out again. We do believe that Tom Holland killed Mysterio.
Spoiler alert, the worst kept secret going into Far From Home. People were like, Mysterio, they're going to change Mysterio's kind of origin here? No, they're not. No, he's a bad guy.
His name is Mysterio.
He's always been a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's going to be a bad guy for the rest of the time.
Yeah. And we're talking about Jake Gyllenhaal. We're not talking about... No, I'm kidding.
You guys are lucky we got this.
Yeah.
Because when they were like, Mysterio's going to be the villain, they're like, the fishbowl head guy? How are they going to do that?
Yeah.
Turns out they did it really freaking well.
Yeah, they did. It was so when you pick up with him, it's said that he's from another Earth. Haha.
Haha.
You're not Bruce Campbell.
The multiverse before the multiverse.
The multiverse before the multiverse. Gives the MCU the comic accurate main Marvel Universe insignia of 616. Pretty cool.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Like that. And I think 833, where Mysterio said he came from, was where Spider-Man UK came from, which is right, because the end of Far From Home takes place in England too, which makes sense. So pretty good stuff. And yeah, they're good mates. They're good friends for a solid amount of this too. Him and Mysterio. It's just another... So Iron Man's like a father figure. Mysterio's like a big brother figure almost. And they play real well off each other. I really like it. He really actually... You kind of feel like even Mysterio himself, like bad guy Mysterio, even kind of likes Peter to the point where he's like, oh, I'm not I just want, retribution for what Tony did to me. Like,
yeah, it turns out he also watched Captain America Civil War.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And he was in it.
Yeah, he was in it.
They cut out Jake Gyllenhaal's scene in Captain America Civil War. So you find out that Quentin Beck, his whole backstory is that he was a Stark employee, and Tony used the augmented reality from the beginning, that throwaway from the beginning of Civil War, and you find out that Quentin Beck's the one that made it with his team, and Tony took all the credit. How much you buying that? Because Tony Stark's a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, I'd say there's nothing in anything that we've seen in Iron Man at this point that tells us Tony hasn't developed all the technology that he's presented.
Right. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that
he built an arc reactor in a cave with a box of scraps.
And moreover, the guy that he was yelling at not only was Ralphie in A Christmas Story, he also was in Far From Home, because they all want retribution. They all want some revenge
on
Tony,
who's
dead.
Yeah.
So I guess
mission accomplished.
Yeah, why were they mad? They could have done whatever.
Yeah, they won, right?
Yeah, they did.
Tony Stark dead.
Yeah. They probably had a party when that happened. They were like, thank God. Worst boss in history. So yeah, Quentin Beck's bad guy. He's trying to get MJ. Great scenes with him trying to get MJ. Betty and Ned are dating, which is one of the funniest throwaway lines in the movie.
Yeah.
They're just all lovey-dovey throughout.
And then they're not.
And then they're not at the end.
Yeah, they're like, ah.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't work out, but I love you.
Yeah, it's very, very, it's like a microcosm of high school relationships just within the confines of one film, which I really like, which is really funny. Yeah. But we're just like, yes, we're in love, we're in love, and then we're out of love. Yeah. It's good. Perfect. It's pitch perfect. I loved it.
So the reveal for Peter it's a pretty good scene. Gets a new suit. Gets his night monkey suit. It's great times. So they're in Prague. And again, I know this movie's much bigger, but still the small moments. Brad just making his move on MJ while Peter has to go, gotta go save the day. Like him making his move on MJ, just flipping him off before he leaves the theater. Like it's great high school stuff. Like it's good. Brad taking the picture of Peter with his pants down with the foreign woman that gives him his suit. Brad, bad guy. Possibly the biggest villain of this movie is Brad, even more than Mysterio.
Yeah. Brad's no good.
Yeah. So the Prague scene, we get the reveal. So Peter's like, why is there a drone flying around with this big elemental monster that's supposed to be rising out of the earth? Did he not I guess the drones are like all purpose, so like they can create like fire or like whatever you need to in the moment. But I was like, I don't know. I even wouldn't have bought that, and I don't have spider sense. Yeah. It would have been like, something's up here. Why does this lava not feel as hot as it is?
Right.
Something's off. Yeah. Right. Nick Fury tells him, "Hey man, are you in or are you out?" And Peter's like, I tried to tell you from the beginning I was out, and you didn't want to believe me, so I'm out. And Quentin Beck's just like, good big brother, like, hey man, Nick Fury's a jerk. Why don't put on those glasses for us and unlock this for us? It's like your friend trying to get into your phone and be like, yo, unlock this for me. I can change the song real quick. Same concept. They do that. So unlocks the glasses. Peter's like, why don't you be the new Iron Man? Because I'm a kid and I'm an idiot and I want you to be the new Iron Man. So
I'm gullible idiot. Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Oh, and then this is my favorite part of Jake Gyllenhaal being in this movie is like, Jake Gyllenhaal doing his Jake Gyllenhaal thing, and he's like, that wasn't so bad, and like everybody just bursts out laughing.
We got him.
Yeah, we got him, boys. We got him. Yeah, great stuff. They got
Jake Gyllenhaal's in control of the drones, the killer drones.
Yeah, and that's the whole comic Mysterio type of thing. I don't think it was really, he just used like film sets and stuff to do it. So that part I actually like, the kind of retcon. Same thing, the Holland movies really do a good job of retconning this, like the silly comic book stuff and making it kind of believable. Like Vulture being a scavenger, quote unquote scavenger of tech and useful materials that can help him, expand his criminal organization. And Mysterio using, drones that can augment reality. Same thing that Mysterio does.
But you still get a lot of the old school Mysterio theater.
Especially in the big second act fight after the Prague scene where
Does he need the cape?
Oh, 100%. Well, what's the woman's name? Janice? He's like, do you still need the cape? Yes, or Janet. Yeah, I still need the cape. Yeah, I love that.
So you see that, that theatrical side to Mysterio also that translates from the comics.
Yeah, that's very Jake Gyllenhaal, though.
Yeah. Yeah. It paves way for a pretty not a spectacular fight. None of the fights, that's my one kind of gripe with the Holland movies, is the fight scenes are not spectacular.
Can I counter?
Sure.
I love when he finally gets his spider sense and he takes the drones.
I'm talking about that. That's great. But I mean like the actual fights.
With his villains or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They're a lot of CGI, a lot of like he's really just swinging around.
Yeah, we don't get the spoils of Toby taking on
Doc Ock.
Yeah, no,
the city.
Not even Doc. Well, yes, 100% Doc Ock. But I mean, we don't get the spoils of him fighting Green Goblin in that abandoned building and just the ferociousness of those fights.
Right. There's a distance with the fight scenes in Holland's villains.
Yeah,
but no, that Spider Sense scene is amazing.
Yeah. I remember in the theater, everybody's like, okay. It started really popping off when that happened.
I hate the Peter Tingle thing.
Well, yeah.
Hate it.
Yeah, these movies. So that's another thing about these movies. So last week we said that Andrew's movies were really trying to counter everything. Not counter, but just trying to distance himself. These movies are like full out trying to counter everything that the last two movies did to just try to make it as distant as possible.
They just didn't have to put it in.
No.
Just don't put it in.
Yeah. You could have him get the spider sense thing, but but honestly it didn't. Why did we need to focus on that if we already knew he had spider sense? We already got that.
It's too It's the phrasing is just too goofy.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
It's a joke that doesn't land.
Not at all. Yeah. And they go to the well too many times. And they go to it in a dramatic moment too.
Yeah, they do.
Like when he says it, and he's like, "Come on!" I'm like, yeah. Why'd you say that?"
At least he made up for it with having one of the best, sequences.
Spectacular. Yeah. It just bugs me. But no, that scene is.
Yeah. Also really like the lead up of him just punching up a bunch of, like, a very, like, video game, just punching up a bunch of, drones that are running around. Really shows off his range of being Spider-Man, like, how formidable he is as well.
Yep.
And he grew a lot from Homecoming to this, too. Like, he knows how to use some more of his powers and some more of his gadgets that he has, too. It's great. It's really good stuff. Gets his new suit. Gets his...
The black and red suit.
Man, this movie was having a great time at Walmart. I'll tell you that much.
And then, we get to the ending where he confronts Mysterio. And then Mysterio thinks he's got one last gag in him. But nah.
Yeah.
Get to a really great dramatic moment from Tom Holland here.
Can't trick me anymore.
It says it kind of very deadpan, very stone face. Boom.
But can I, though?
Yeah. Tricks, but I said that was his last gag. It wasn't his last gag. He had one more gag.
And the very, very aware statement that Mysterio makes of people will believe anything that they see these days. I mean, very, very on the nose for that. But it makes sense. It makes sense for what we got in there. And he tells him, like, people almost believe that I was gonna be the greatest Avenger out of everybody. Like, they even made the joke in the movie. He's like Iron Man and Thor mixed into one. Like, he's the most powerful version of all these heroes that we all loved. Yeah. That some of them died for us. So yeah, he's next up.
So he stops Mysterio, gets back to New York, and then again, really good moment. Like, him and MJ are full swing, pun intended, in their kind of budding relationship. Like, this is kind of like the Oh, she also knows he's Spider-Man.
Yeah, so in the scene before we get into the, the third act, she's just like, he tries to tell her something different, but then he goes, "You're Spider-Man, right?" And she's just like, "I was only like 60% sure you were." And then he's just like, "No, I'm not." And then one of the projectors goes off that Mysterio was using, and then he turns around and is like, "I am Spider-Man, and I messed up, and I'm going to need some help."
Yeah. So they're full swing into their relationship. Really good. Again, just I'm really liking where this romance is headed for those two characters. I think it's built very naturally, and then kind of in No Way Home, we're going to see the fulfillment of that. So they're swinging through New York City, and then
oh no, bro. So
Spider-Man, you've been outed.
Yeah, you've been outed
as a murderer
because he is a murderer.
Yeah.
So J.K. Simmons is back.
Yes. This is again what we talked about last week about people pleasing.
Yes. Another theater pleaser and people just going nuts in the theater. J. Jonah Jameson is back, and he's
Alex Jones.
Yeah, he's just Alex Jones.
He's InfoWars.
Yeah. So also going back to the fact that we're kind of updating as time goes on, instead of him running a newspaper, it makes sense that has his own, probably YouTube channel or whatever it is, like him actually talking like on screen about what's going on instead of like throwing out newspapers with headlines. Like, it makes more sense. So yeah, Mysterio, he got him.
One last gag.
Yeah, one
last laugh.
Yep.
He's like the Joker.
Yeah, so he
less Mysterio, more Joker.
Yes. So the file that he had Ralphie from A Christmas Story upload was him augmenting the reality to believe that Peter Parker killed him in cold blood, and that Mysterio still could have been the greatest Avenger, and that he just killed possibly like the world's biggest superhero at the moment.
But the big thing is not just that Spider-Man killed Mysterio, but his identity is Peter Parker.
Yes. Uh-oh. Yeah.
Uh-ohs.
Not good.
Yep.
And yeah, we're here.
No Way Home.
Oh my gosh. It's like that Drake meme. It's been a long fight.
Yeah.
It's been a long fight.
Yeah.
So, the biggest movie possibly of all time is coming out in 4 days. How you feeling?
I'm nervous.
Me too. I thought about this yesterday. There's been so much hype, so much extra stuff, leaks, this, that, the other thing. You know what got lost? Is this actually just going to be a good movie?
I've been saying that. I said this 3 or 4 weeks ago about I have legitimate concerns.
Yeah.
That I think Marvel's good graces have allowed me to alleviate a bit.
Guess who's the co-parent in this?
Right.
Yeah, it's Sony.
So if this was not Marvel involved, and this was just like a regular movie with this kind of hype, I'd be very nervous about what's going to transpire over the 2 hours and 40 some odd minutes that this movie's going to be. it's a lot to balance. It's a lot to juggle. It's a lot of people to please. You know, this is the caveat. This is the double side, the double edge of people pleasing is, are you going to please them enough to where they're satisfied?
Yeah, and where's the substance? That's my thing. So for me personally, it's the substance. It's if Toby and Andrew show up, if Charlie Cox shows up.
What function are they cool. Are they actually contributing to the story?
And because that's the whole point of this is Tom Holland's third movie. Like this was
my argument when we talked about Daredevil a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Why is he there beyond people pleasing?
Yeah, fan service. Is it because he's a lawyer in New York City? But that's the face front, but the underlying is you're just trying to get Charlie Cox into the MCU. Toby and Andrew, the front facing is, he's going to learn these lessons from these other Peters, but the underlying is, we're just throwing your childhood favorite Spider-Man in this movie. So this is going to be one of the craziest Twitter weeks of all time. All social media. I guarantee you, Thursday is going to be one of the craziest days on social media of all time.
I'm glad that we do this the way that we do this, where, you know, typically when a movie comes out, it comes out on a Thursday. We don't record these until the following Tuesday. I love that. I love that we aren't going to run home. I mean, we won't be able to because we won't be together.
You're going far from home.
I am going far from home. But I'm glad that we don't record these right after movies because I feel like that would skew our thought process.
Yeah.
Because I'm fully anticipating, regardless of whether this movie's actually good, I'm fully anticipating leaving this thing Thursday going, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen, knowing full well it might not be.
That's how I felt about Eternals, because I was not definitively hot on Eternals. I was like, it's got some stuff. And then once we reviewed it, I said the same thing. It's got some stuff, but I'm starting to like, as we're talking about it, I was starting to like things more and more and rationalize my thoughts a little bit more.
There's only a couple movies that I've seen recently where I left the theater feeling away and left feeling the same way, if not better. Shang-Chi was one of them. I left that movie thinking that's a really spectacular movie, and then I rewatched it and I'm like, no, it's probably even better than I thought it was.
Dune, easily.
Yeah, and Dune's the other one. Dune's the other one. I left that thinking, wow, and I kept that same feeling thinking, wow. This, I'm already expecting myself to feel like this is going to be, I'm going to feel really good about it, and then I don't know how I'm going to feel about it afterwards.
Yeah, because if you look at it as a movie itself, are the characters good? Is the plot good?
Does it make sense?
Does it make sense? That's the biggest thing, because this movie also, and this was said by Kevin Feige himself, this is the first of the Loki was the preamble, it was like the prequel, and then this is the true start of the multi.
Has a lot of work to do.
This is the start of the MCU multiverse. This is it. Like, this is the beginning of it. So we're gonna see how this is gonna play, because
a lot of characters, a lot of renowned characters.
Yeah, and it's also, you gotta go along with these kids that are watching these movies now. The kids that just know Tom, they're gonna have to retroactively be like, that's another thing that I thought about. Like, is that the greatest thing that? Cool for us that we're seeing Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Jamie Foxx, Reese Fiennes. Like, we're seeing all these guys coming back.
You have to sell these characters on people who have never seen them before.
That's the big thing. And I think just from watching those trailers, I think that two people, Jamie Foxx's Electro is going to get some, but it's also, I think, Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe is also going to get a lot of play too. I think he's probably the true villain of this.
I'd agree.
Because that's who Spider-Man's truest villain is. So...
Yeah, this movie's bouncing a lot of plates, man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is a No Way Home preview, but we've been previewing this movie for probably a month and a half.
Yeah. Right.
You know, through various episodes in terms of trailer breakdowns and then the film retrospectives that we've done the last couple of weeks. There's really not much more about this movie that I think we have to say. I mean, the closer you get to these things, the less you really have to say about them. It's you know, it's almost curtain time.
Yeah, I love the marketing. The marketing is so hilarious every time a movie comes out, because it's like, don't talk about this movie, but we're gonna get 50 TV spots before this movie comes out a week before.
They've been pounding them out.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's so many TV spots out. So
I'm like, have I seen that one?
Yeah, that's how I've been. I was like, I don't think I've seen that one before. And it's just little moments it's not really spoilers, but you're starting to get more and more and more. So be careful out there.
Yeah,
it's dangerous in these streets, as Andrew Garfield probably thinks. books.
Yeah, this is one of those movies I've just tried so hard to stay away from as much stuff as I could because I want to preserve whatever this experience is going to be. That's why I'm so glad that they never ended up revealing the other two. Mm-hmm. If they're in it, they're in it. But if they're in it,
but yes. Yeah, I mean, I had some fun. We had a bit of fun before we hopped on. So we all know that No Way Home can't be the end of Tom Holland's career as Spider-Man, nor does Amy Pascal think that either. Yeah. So he's getting another trilogy, and this whole piece of this movie is that he's going to try to get into college in this movie. So we thought we should fan cast some more classic Spider-Man heroes and villains and pals and friends. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's start with his arch nemesis. Mm-hmm. Who you feeling an MCU Norman Osborn?
This is where I'm coming back to the name I mentioned earlier, Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
And the only reason I said that is because I was so captivated by him in Birds of Prey as a villain.
Oh yeah, that's another one of my hot takes that I really really love. I really like that movie. Like I think it's a really good entry in the DCEU, and I don't know why people don't like it. I really don't. I don't see the hate of that movie. It's her mucking about in Gotham. Yeah. In this very self-aware way. But
Ewan McGregor was my kind of out there. I don't think anyone really had him high on the list.
It's just because he can get to that crazy level, but he can also hone it back to being really, he can pull off the smart
running a company, running Oscorp. Yeah,
but then by night turning into a guy with a messenger bag just throwing bombs everywhere.
Yeah, so that was my choice for Norman Osborn was Ewan McGregor.
You ever seen Interstellar?
Yes.
I got Matthew McConaughey as Norman Osborn.
All right.
Yes, but specifically as his character in Wolf of Wall Street. So here's my thing, right? I don't want Green Goblin right away. I do not. I think it's more important to have the Avengers Tower be bought by Norman Osborn.
Let's knock this right out of the way. We already talked about this. The next Holland movie is going to be Venom.
Yeah.
So we're already 2 movies removed.
Right. But that's why I said they still could do the setup of this. So I just want Norman Osborn. I want Norman Osborn as this could be a guy that maybe is not more of like a Justin Hammer, but actually competent. I want somebody that he's got some history and he's got this kid running about in New York too, but he's got some money and he's making a name for himself with Oscorp throughout the MCU. But I need him more for to get to the Dark Avengers more than I need him to be Green Goblin. Mm-hmm. I think that would be very cool for the MCU. Maybe if this is the case, maybe a little appearance in Armor Wars because of, Norman Osborn gets the Iron Patriot suit by the time the Dark Avengers roll around. So, and then another person for Val to use for that team that they're doing. Yeah, but I don't think Norman Osborn would be like, "Oh, I'm going to work for you." Yeah, that would never happen.
I think McConaughey is a good pick, and as you were talking about McConaughey, I was thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, it's a damn shame they're using him for a voice role because Bradley Cooper would be pretty darn good as Norman Osborn.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, it's just, can you balance that crazy with that believable, businessman that's also a genius too? Don't get that. That's another part of Norman. He is a genius. Yeah. Yeah, so John Hamm.
John Hamm's good.
Specifically in Baby Driver, John Hamm.
I think people have been wanting to get John Hamm into the MCU for a while.
Yeah. Possible Reed Richards too. Mm-hmm. I could definitely buy him as Reed Richards. So yeah, I definitely same concept as it's just not this super older, because even Willem Dafoe wasn't old when he was Norman Osborn, but this slightly younger Norman Osborn that you can believe. It's the corporate thing. I mean, I guess him is from Mad Men too. It's this corporate, I need the corporate villain Norman Osborn more than I need the Green Goblin that kills Gwen Stacy. That's
you never got that. Even in the original, the Maguire trilogy.
They got him right to being Green Goblin.
Yeah. You can't do this to me.
I started this company. You know how much I've sacrificed?
Oh my God. I can't wait to see it again. See, they got me. Man. See, the movie might not be good, but it'll be worth it to see Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin again.
You got any more?
For Goblin? Mm-hmm. No, I think I would say Ewan McGregor, and that Bradley Cooper would be my other one, because I think Bradley Cooper would play that like charming kind of businessman, but also has a darkness to him. Yeah. I think, have you ever seen Limitless as the TV show?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Where he's kind of a dirtbag.
Yeah. Because he was in the first season. He was just like, I'm better than this, and then he left. But.
Yeah, I think he still produced it, but he just wasn't in it. But yeah, that's why I would say Bradley Cooper.
This is the one that I was excited about.
Oh, the one that you didn't tell me about.
Michael Shannon.
Oh, that is good.
Michael Shannon as General Zod in Man of Steel. No, I think Michael Shannon would be that, like, when I talked about that balance that you need, I think it would be those ham-up moments of him. This would probably be the most, I'm turning into the Green Goblin soon. But he probably has that, like, Eastern European, like, lineage, one version of Norman Osborn, where, like, he's definitely got a past that's, like the Osborn crest and stuff like that. You can believe that, like, if we were ever to get any backstory of, like, him moving to the States, whatever it is, I definitely get that from him.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to the Sun?
I mean, I
think we both agree.
I found another one that I think would fit better with Tom Holland.
There's two of these that we're gonna do that we pretty much unanimously agree on.
Yeah.
And Harry Osborn's one of them.
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, you didn't let me say my Interstellar joke before. That's why I picked Matthew McConaughey. Just run it back. Just simply have Timothy Chalamet and Matthew McConaughey back as father and son. It's great. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's his bone structure. I don't know what it is. Like, because he was a kid that grew up in New York. I buy that. Like a wealthy kid that grew up in New York.
Is it also because they kind of look like dark reflections of each other?
And they're both in love with Zendaya. And I'm not talking about the movies that they're in. I'm talking about real life. Yeah, you don't think we don't see that, Timmy? We see it.
Yeah, I think that would be spectacular.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Spectacular. I can't say amazing. I can't say spectacular. Can't say ultimate. I'll say ultimate as much.
Yeah, can't say superior for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Wyatt Oleff from It.
Oh,
and from
yeah.
I'm not okay with this on Netflix. I think he would be a pretty dang good. He would be like that really youthful, like he would feel like a younger version of Dane DeHaan in the way it's just like, he's Richie Rich. That's like what version I would feel from Wyatt, of like, I'm just a young kid, probably college, because I think that's what it would be good. Like, imagine Harry, like, he's like, I'm not going to any of these big schools. I'm going to Empire State University, which I think that's going to be the end of this movie, being like, we couldn't get into MIT, so let's just go to Empire State. And yeah, I think, Wyatt Oleff is my choice. I think he's a up and coming star, and I think he can fit right into the MCU and get not like this big grand role, but like something that's like really comparable to himself. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, that's the other thing that's the problem with if you were to cast Timothy Chalamet as Harry Osborn.
He's on his Leo path right now.
You'd have to give Harry Osborn a pretty big piece of the pie in terms of like the movie that he's in for it to be to justify Timothy Chalamet being in the role.
Yeah, not being Spider-Man himself.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's move on to so Peter Parker just doesn't like Liz or Mary Jane. He also likes Gwen Stacy from time to time. Dove Cameron, I think, would be a pretty...
That's a good one.
I just said that, and I know who you're going to say. You're going to say Olivia Holt.
I was thinking that. I wasn't thinking it, but now I'm thinking it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But I want to save her to come back as a Cloak and Dagger one day.
Bring them back.
I was going to say Freya Allen from The Witcher.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
As Gwen Stacy.
Yeah. She needs to... What's the best way to explain it? She needs to have this, like, soft character nature that's a little bit more graceful than Mary Jane, which I think Emma Stone captured both sides. It's like, it's the capable nature of her doing it. It's not just like, I am like this.
Olivia
it's also
Holt's a good one too, though. But I like I said, I want to save her for being Tandy Bowen if they ever decide to bring Cloak and Dagger back.
Yeah. My other one specifically, I think it would be good with Tom, is Sabrina Carpenter, in terms of like,
oh yeah.
I just think she has like, again, she fits the actual Emma Stone being Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy fact, that she's a little bit more like vocal and like a little bit like
fun and flirty.
Right. That's what. Yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah, Sabrina Carpenter would be good.
Yeah, as like a good one. As a college age Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
Not Bryce Dallas Howard being 75. No, I'm kidding.
How dare you?
Yeah, I love Bryce Dallas Howard.
She's great.
That's not Jessica Chastain.
Great in front of and behind the camera.
Yeah.
As we learned from the Mandalorian.
Yes.
Directed one of my favorite episodes of that season.
Good stuff. Black Cat.
This is the other one that we kind of unanimously
I found one after, but
Anya Taylor-Joy. She's got the face.
Yes, it's the face. It's perfect.
We're superficial.
Yeah, it is her appearance as in the last night in Soho. That's exactly it's great. It's like just
charming, but like quiet mystery behind the behind the eyes.
That's not criminal. That's not a bad person, but
it's also a shame that It's also a shame that she's Catwoman, because Zoe Kravitz, I think, also could have been Black Cat.
Not definitely. It's just they have the feature. It's like the feature of being like you said. It's like the female fatal. That's what it is.
She's got it. Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney would be my other pick, and because of Zendaya, I think that that's one I think could be credible of actually happening. I mean, Sydney Sweeney, another person that's on the rise from Euphoria fame, and again, that same concept of like the femme fatale, just like just being like a little bit older and like it not being creepy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, it could work. A bit like the seductive, like, we can run this town together if, you commit a crime from time to time. He's like, we can't do that, but I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we had a little bit more fun, and we said I want one villain that is not cast, because we went through the list
that we didn't talk about.
Yeah.
We didn't exchange these.
Yeah.
We exchanged a lot of these beforehand, but we kept this one close to the chest.
Who you got? Oh, no! I just realized something, but I'll get into it after. Okay. Go ahead.
So my pick was, I want to see another version of Kirk Connors.
Okay.
And I want to see him played by Aaron Eckhart.
Ah, okay. So Two-Face wasn't enough for you?
No, I think the Two-Face performance is exactly why I would want to see him as Kirk Connors.
Okay. I don't know. I can believe him as the college professor. I don't know why that's passing my head. But
that's why I thought it too.
Oh, I mean, it makes sense of where Harvey started and where he ended. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking like Aaron Eckhart, as like the to do well, like college professor who kind of like, takes a liking to Peter, but also has this insane darkness to him, which we've seen Aaron Eckhart play extremely well in The Dark Knight. So
I like that. I like that a lot.
That was mine.
So I want a little bit more, to fit these Holland movies and like the fun nature of them. So I said the chameleon, but then I realized, wasn't in Far From Home their driver Dimitri? Wasn't he technically the chameleon?
I mean, maybe, but it's a deep enough cut that they can hand wave and have nobody notice. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter.
Right. So I said, who would be a fun chameleon? Bill Hader would be a fun chameleon.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just especially after Barry came out, like I feel like Bill Hader, like his like kind of like awkward nature, but like also like it's just the fly on the wall nature of chameleon of just blending into anything but still sticking out just a little bit. I think would be really cool. So like just this like it's just like this creepy guy that's always around and just changing face all the time. I think Bill Hader. It's kind of like that episode of Flash with Hannibal Bates. Was it Hannibal Bates or Hannibal whatever?
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. Oh yeah, Hannibal Lecter and Norman Bates. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, very on the nose Flash. We didn't. Yeah, but yeah, I think Bill Hader would be a fun chameleon.
I agree.
So
it's a good one.
Peter Parker's Spider-Man, but who else is Spider-Man? Miles Morales is also Spider-Man because
I was gonna say Otto Octavius.
Yeah, because he's superior.
Yeah.
If Into the Spider-Verse taught me one thing, is that anybody can wear the mask. So who do you want to wear the mask of Miles Morales?
I'm going to cast a guy whose name is actually Miles. Miles Brown from Blackish fame most recently.
Yeah.
Right age, right kind of stature. I just,
right amount of fame.
Yeah. Right amount of fame. Just this young kid who can realistically look up to Tom Holland Spider-Man as a hero. Mm-hmm. We have Donald Glover who would portray, Aaron Davis. Mm-hmm. I think those two would probably vibe well prettily off of each other.
I think that would because Miles Brown in his young career has worked with some great comedic actors already in his life. He worked with, who did he work with? Anthony Anderson. He worked with Lawrence Fisher. Like, he's worked with some of the, some all-time great actors already. So it would be kind of cool that he's like the understudy of Peter, trying to see what he does and kind of feel him out as Peter is still trying to figure himself out. It also would be good for Tom's Peter to do this, because we haven't seen this before. We've never seen him actually mentor somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I know on this press jump,
and that would be a neat little payoff to the whole Iron Man thing that so many people have a problem with.
Right.
Is if he evolved into the Tony Stark for a Miles Morales.
Mm-hmm. Which, it would be cool. So I found one that I don't think anybody's going to think of, but I absolutely adored this actor. So again, Sydney Sweeney wasn't just in Euphoria. Before that, she was in this little show on Netflix called Everything Sucks. And the main character of that show, Jai Diallo, I think he would be a great Miles Morales. It's just his mannerisms that he had in that show would just fit so perfectly with Miles. Like that kind of unsure nature of himself. It's so good. And like he comes off as smart the whole time as well. but like it's just he's such a fun little spirit, and he's 18 years old right now, so still not too old, but he still has a baby face. Like I looked it up and I was like, I thought he was gonna be like 16 by this time, but still, I mean, that's not far. That's 2 years, but yeah, I can really buy him as a really young Miles Morales, like a 14, 15-year-old, kind of on the ascension to becoming, you know, the predecessor. So here's another theory that I have. I think by the end of this trilogy, they're going to kill Tom and because we haven't seen any live-action Spider-Man die. I think they're going to kill Tom and turn...
Until No Way Home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what he gets for killing Mysterio, right?
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Andrew Garfield.
He's not dying. Yeah, he could die. Yeah, Andrew's going to die, and then they're going to give us our Spider-Man for either Last Reign or Spider-Man Life Story with Tobey, and it's going to be like Logan, but more fun.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. There's our new college-age Peter Parker fan cast.
Giancarlo Esposito as Norman Osborn?
Got some explaining to do, but I would be on board with that in a heartbeat. No, you know the one that would have some explaining to do? It would really be Doctor Doom, because I think he would be a fine Doctor Doom. Also a fine Magneto. Get this guy as one of the middle-aged, villain / anti-heroes running amok in the MCU. It'd be great in it.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
This is it. Wow.
The next episode you hear from us will be a Spider-Man No Way Home spoiler cast review.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Hopefully nothing happens to any of us in the next 4 days. Oh my gosh. I'm going to make sure there's no ice around me. I'm going to go like 20 miles per hour on the roads. Like,
yeah, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
I can't believe this movie is actually real.
Yeah.
I harken back all the way back to probably, I don't know, this is probably 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, where we're just at work, and then they just came across the news wire that Jamie Foxx was going to be in the next Spider-Man movie, and we were like wait a second.
And then fast forward a year or so later, and Alfred Molina's like, I'm also going to be in this. You're like, excuse me?
Like, are they doing the thing that we think they're doing?
Yeah. Yeah, and then it was just like a bullet train from there to now, and yeah, this is the most hyped movie of all. I keep saying it. Endgame was the biggest culmination movie of all time, but this is really the most. I just go back to, you know how many showings they have for this movie? I mean, it's just, we're in the new era of internet hype. So that also lends credence to it. But yeah, this is the biggest, most hyped movie of all time. I've never seen anything like this. Which also
lends itself to some incredible amount of negative reception.
Yeah. Oh, I think this movie's going to get, there's going to be like a cult of people that are going to really hate this movie. And no matter how the movie is, like from a narrative perspective, some people are just going to hate this movie when it comes out.
Yeah. I have concerns. We'll see whether or not those concerns are real themselves.
Yeah, we go back to our Eternals review. Keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's going to be happy. Mm-hmm. I already know that.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't going to come away being the most beloved movie of all time.
No.
Someone's going to be upset. Someone's not going to be given the due justice that they're quote-unquote deserved.
Well, we'll go back to Star Wars for that, because sorry that your fan fiction didn't come true. And
I feel like that there's elements of that for this.
But I go back to Dave Filoni when he said, this isn't the Spider-Man that I had when I was a kid. And he went, what did you say? Mm-hmm. When I was a kid, you make movies for kids. It's just like, well, I fell in love with this when I was a kid. And he said, say that again? When you were a kid, so why can't kids love this?
Yeah. It's gonna be a wild ride for 3 hours. We're gonna be locked in.
We're really gonna see Tobey Maguire in a couple days. This is so crazy. It's so nuts. I'm gonna see Charlie Cox in a couple days. This is wild.
Next week is going to be Spider-Man No Way Home review, which sounds crazy to even say.
It does. This felt like 12 years, like 15 years.
But you can follow us on Twitter at ProjectINF_pod. You can follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook. New episodes are posted there every Wednesday, as well as on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes go up early morning Eastern time in America on Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. That's when you will hear this. That's when you will hear our Spider-Man No Way Home review will be the following Wednesday.
Right.
So next Wednesday. And you can follow us on Instagram
at the Project Infinite Pod.
Which is probably going to be very busy over the next week or so.
Oh, God, yeah.
A lot of stuff going on Instagram. And you can email us at projectinfinitepod@gmail.com if you want to send us your snail mail emails to your reactions to Spider-Man No Way Home after you see it. You guys have 6 days from when the movie releases to see it before you listen to us.
Yeah.
So make sure you go see it. I don't think that's going to be a problem for really anybody.
Is it though? Might be a little bit of an issue based off the ticket hype.
Yeah, but aside from that, looking forward to that. Like I said, we recorded this in kind of short frame from when the last episode did, so we don't really have a lot to talk about. I've been doing much of the same things that I was doing last time we talked.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I've been same here. I've just been slowly chomping away at. I read a little Immortal Iron Fist, and I think we were doing something, and we were. Oh, it may not have even been you. I think I was just talking to some people.
Annoying you talk to people.
Annoying them with my fandom talk, and they're probably like, "Shut up!" But I was reading a little bit of the Immortal Iron Fist. That's what I was doing. And hey, great Danny Rand. Amazing Danny Rand even. And give me that in Shang-Chi 2. I'm still on board with, I think if we're going to put Charlie Cox in these other projects, slowly get the rest of them, I'd be okay if they recasted this Danny Rand. I don't think anybody else would be mad. Or give Finn Jones one more chance. Hey, have Kevin Feige pull him into the principal's office at the Disney headquarters and be like, hey man, this is your last chance before I kick you out of this school. You got one more chance. If you don't play well off of Shang-Chi, then you're out of here, man. So yeah, give him one more chance, and actually maybe have him have the Iron Fist for more than 7 seconds of screen time too. Yeah. I think that would actually help a little bit. Yeah, that's all I've been doing. Been reading a little bit of comics, read some more Hawkeye, and episode 4, episode 3 and 4, back to back. Yeah,
we have that coming too that we're gonna have to talk about.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about Hawkeye.
And Book of Boba Fett coming out too.
Fett, The Matrix.
This isn't just a Spider-Man.
December is loaded.
Yeah, this isn't just a Klay Thompson or Spider-Man podcast. It's more than that.
Yeah. All right, guys. Next time you hear us, you'll be talking about Spider-Man No Way Home.
Spoilers, I'm in it. I am Spider-Man. I'm in it.
We're all Spider-Man.
All right,
guys.
Except for you, James Franco. You can never be Spider-Man.
The dead leads of the podcast, everybody.
I'll take it. Does that insinuate that you're Peter?
Nah. I don't know who I am.
We'll give you.
I don't have an identity.
We'll give you Kurt Connors.
All right. I'm the guy from the end of the Amazing Spider-Man movies in the fedora. Who's that man? We'll never know.
Yeah. But next time you'll hear from us, it's time.
It's time.
Yeah, it's Jessica.
To quote the great American poet Bruce Buffer, it's time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm working on some stuff, so big another no spoilers, big changes coming again. So y'all aren't ready for what's coming up next. We're gonna have a little. It's gonna get cool.
Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, guys, we'll see you next week. Spider-Man No Way Home. It's happening. Goodbye.
It's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie. It's a movie that's happening.
Yeah.
Goodbye.